Hello, and welcome to a makeup episode of the Drywall Podcast. Not as in we're making up an episode or anything like that, but no, like makeup, like you put on your face. I am your humble host, Nick Harmon. With us today, we have our very first Scotsman, and I'm honored to welcome Craig Murphy, aka the Kilted Painter, to the show. Craig has been recently turning heads on and off social media and was just the star of a show called Faking It, where he competed against real-life makeup artists in a combat to see if he could fake out a whole panel of professional judges.
But I set up a pop-up makeup stall outside that and served the general public for tips.
Oh, funny. And that didn't make the cut.
It was horrendous because it wasn't makeup I'd done before. They literally, an hour before people started arriving, you think ABBA, you think 70s glam. So like an hour before people arrive, they're like, right, here's how you add glitter. Here's some gemstones. You put them on with tweezers. Have fun.
Oh. God, that would be nerve-wracking.
Yeah, feel like I was set up to fail that day, and it was absolutely... I'll say it was embarrassing, and it was embarrassing, but
yeah,
I was never humiliated. I'll put it that way.
We talk about the differences between plaster and taping in the UK, as well as some wallpaper techniques, which he is well versed at. We do a deep dive into the dynamics of the kilt and why that iconic garment sets him apart from other pros, but mostly we just have a fun time learning about each other's culture on this, the 135th episode of the Drywall Podcast. Shout out to Tape Tech for sponsoring the month of June on the Drywall Podcast. We will be smoothing out your world with little help from Tape Tech and maybe some badass skimming blades. Listen up. Let's talk finishing. If you're out there chasing that perfect finish, and I know you are, or you're just looking to make some wipe downs faster, cleaner, and smoother, this one is for you. We are diving into the Tape Tech Premium Finish Knives. These knives are built for precision and engineered for comfort. We're talking about inox German stainless steel. So the blade's got that perfect flex, but it never loses its edge, whether you're working with a 7-inch or pushing a monster 48-inch blade. These premium finish knives give finishers the ultimate control, reach, and value. If you'd like to learn more about these amazing tools, head over to tapetech.com. That's tapetech with no hyphen.com. Or check out their social media pages for more information. They are constantly spotlighting their arsenal of tools over there and posting cool original content. Check it out. And also check out my episode on the Drywall Podcast, episode 125, with the great Mark Wilson of Tape Tech. Maybe you don't know him, but you should. Stay tuned toward the end of the month when we will be giving away a set of skimming blades right here on the Drywall Podcast. But for now, Craig Murphy, all the way from Scotland, on the 135th episode of the Drywall Podcast. Let's get into it. I like that hat.
How are you? Oh, thanks, man. I'm always wearing flat caps like this.
Yeah, I do sometimes. A cap wear. I like the baseball. Yeah. Do you wear the baseball caps?
No, that is what I would call a cap.
A cap.
I suppose a cap to use a bullet, isn't it?
A hat. Just a hat. Yeah.
Yeah, we call headwear caps.
Okay. Okay. Um, I'm excited about this one. We have Craig Murphy, a young 34 out of Scotland, Granton on Spey,
That's the one.
Grantown on Spey,
In the Highlands.
in the Highlands. It's probably
Hmm.
so beautiful where you are.
Absolutely gorgeous. Breathtaking, mate. Absolutely breathtaking.
Yeah, yeah. And you are a lot of rain, a lot of
Rain,
rain.
yes, we get plenty of that. Yes,
Plenty of rain. I'm originally from the northwestern United States. A lot of rain.
I believe we get more rain than Ireland.
You get more rain than Ireland. That's saying a lot. Is there a rivalry? Is there a pretty good rivalry between Scotland and Ireland?
No, it's pretty much Scotland, Ireland, and Wales against England.
Okay, okay. You guys all band together.
Yeah, we're all the underdogs. I,
Smart.
I would say I get on well with a lot of English people, but but
Sure.
stereotypically it's Scotland, Wales, and Ireland versus England is how it's portrayed.
Okay. All right. That's a fun fact. Craig Murphy, the kilted taper, right?
Yeah, a kilted painter, but yes, I do tape on the side, so I can't be the kilted taper for this
You
special
tape on the
occasion.
side. Would you say you're primarily painting or primarily taping?
During my apprenticeship and with my first employer, I was very heavily involved in taping. It was probably even 60-40 taping and paint, 60% taping, 40% painting.
Okay.
But my who I served my time with, he had a crew, and
Okay.
when I've got my own, I just don't think it's not worth me having the tools just by myself. So I just tape like small extensions, or if someone
Okay.
insulates exterior rooms in their whole house, I'll tape the two exterior walls. I
Okay.
would love to take I would love to take on a full house again because taping was
Okay.
some of my favorite. I was actually in talks with Kathy about coming down to Newcastle and working with her and Craig in the future.
Yeah. Yeah,
They have
you guys just met for the first time, and we're talking about Kathy, the tiniest taper who has thrusted onto the scene. She's doing some awesome video content, and she seems like a dynamite taper.
she is, yeah, and person as well. But
Yeah,
no, what it was, how we got into we were following each other on Instagram anyway. But she said she was going to be on your podcast, and she was quite nervous about it. She'll probably hate me
yeah,
telling you this,
that's okay.
but but I just offered her, look, if you want to talk to a stranger for like an hour or so, feel free to give me a call. So she gave me a call, and we chatted nonsense for an hour, and I helped her put her at ease quite a bit. And now she's one of my nearest and dearest now.
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't know her too well, and then if you talk to Kathy for any period of time, you just fall in love instantly. She's just a
Yeah,
sweetheart. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Very cool
absolutely.
person. And then you guys got to meet recently. I saw some videos on her page where you guys met.
Yes, that I was doing a bit of an English world tour because I'd filmed a show recently, and Newcastle was a fine point to stop off.
Okay.
So we
Hey,
arranged to meet
wait a
up.
second. Wait a second. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I do want to give a little teaser to our listeners. Craig Murphy is famous. He was on a show. You are the second person on the podcast that has been on a show. Danny Moody was on a show called Tough as Nails. Are you familiar with him?
Danny Moody, can't say I am. No,
Okay, there's a
it's,
show called it's called Tough as Nails. Uh,
I take it
and
he's a paper.
He's a taper and hanger, and
Yeah.
yeah, we talk about that. It's pretty popular show here. a great guy. You are the second person, drywaller, who has been on a famous TV show. We'll get to that. But that's just a Scotland show, correct?
It's a British
Or
UK show.
British, sorry.
You can't watch it outside of the UK. I've had friends who, when it broadcast, they were on holiday and they have the app on their phone, but because they're in a foreign country, they can open the app, but as soon as they try and watch something, it just cuts out. So unless you get a VPN, you won't be able to watch it outside of the UK.
How does that benefit the UK in any way? Not allowing people to watch it.
It'll benefit the VPN industry for people outside the UK who really want to watch it.
Oh, there you go. There you go. They have to get. And what is a VPN? That's like an app?
I've never had one, but it's like basically if you have a VPN, it's a viral protection network. I think that's what the N stands for. But it just like protects you online. But it does this thing. I've never had one, but basically, as the adverts say, if you're from the UK, you can change it to like an American account so you can watch like Peacock and that.
Okay.
Which we can't watch in the UK.
Okay.
So likewise, if you're an American and got a VPN, you could watch British streaming services. There's always on YouTube. There's always some YouTuber doing an offer on a VPN.
Okay. So you were in an apprenticeship program. Let's go back. And then I also want to talk about something that I've learned about the Scottish is that you are also designers. So I want to get into that too. Not only are you finishers, you're a painter, but you also are designer, which is interesting to me. But let's back up. Why did you choose? Was it a drywall finishing apprenticeship or was it finishing and painting?
It was just a decorating apprenticeship. The aim was just on the side.
Okay. And what were you doing? What were you doing prior to that?
I was in school.
You were in school. What were you studying?
Not much.
Makeup? Makeup?
No, not in school. That's it. That's a little more recent.
Just nothing. And so maybe school wasn't working out. And so how did you find, are apprenticeships very popular in Scotland? Is that a popular route to go?
They were 15 odd years ago when I was for an apprenticeship. Sure. It's kind of hard to find a motivated young person these days. They are out there. They're hard to come by. But how I got into it was in the school. There was a program that sent us people who were interested. It wasn't every student pupil. Every Friday, we would get sent up to Inverness College, and we did 4 weeks of each trade. And we done plumbing, sparky, bricky, and painting. And the week that I done painting was the 4 weeks was the 4 weeks that I enjoyed the most. So that is how I landed into the painting and decorating, which led me into taping as an apprentice and with my original employer.
That's cool. So you, as a young person in Scotland, had an option to do these various trades. And so you learned a little bit about each of the trades before you could make a educated decision on which trade you wanted to go into. That's really cool.
Yeah, but now painting just resonated with me the most. So
why?
Done that for the last. Why? I just thought it was the most fun.
It was the most fun.
Lecturer. Yeah, the lecturer was a good laugh. I think helped a lot, but just enjoyed it the most of all the courses that there were to do.
Yeah. It spoke to you.
Yeah, bricklaying was probably second, but I managed to land a painting apprenticeship, and here we are 20 years later. I kind of started at 15, not quite 20 years later then.
Okay. So I'm
I'll
a
be
stickler. I'm
I'll
a
be quick.
stickler for detail, Craig. I'm joking.
I would. I'll tell you what. No, that was the college. I was 14 when I went to college. Yes, then I got an apprenticeship at 16. So sorry, I was thinking of the school, but no, I started
Okay.
my apprenticeship at 16.
But that seems young. Like we're 18 in the United States before we go to college. So college or secondary school would start earlier in Scotland. Is that true?
So you have nursery and playgroup. You kind of start that when you're 3.
Okay.
You do that for 2 years, and then you go to primary school. You
Okay.
do that from 5 till 11 or 12,
Okay.
and then you high school, which
Okay.
is 11, 12 to 15, 16. That's the minimum. So you can do four
Okay.
years of high school, but you stay on for an extra 2 years and do like your hires, which I had zero interest in.
Yeah. They weed out the smart kids. They let those smart kids, they go do the higher, and then the dumb kids apprentice. You go over here.
Dumb Kids Apprentice, yes. But
Or the smart kids, or the smart kids,
some of
as it were.
yeah, some of the dumb kids do thrive for.
Me. I'm one of those. Uh,
I like
shh, don't tell anybody. Cool. So you chose a painting, dry lining, and decorating though. That decorating aspect, that is a higher calling, a totally separate training in the United States. Somebody that is a designer or a decorator. Now, in the United States, a designer, how they're differentiated is designer is has education and architectural knowledge amongst a lot of other things. A decorator is more that's a more watered down, like pick color, but you're not certified to do anything structural. That's kind of the difference between a decorator and a designer in the United States. Now, when you say designer in Scotland, I think to myself, oh, he's a designer. You go and you help clients design a space. Is that right?
I would say so. I also would say I don't fall under the designer category.
Okay.
I've got an eye for it, but
Mm-hmm.
I would I wouldn't put myself out there to like pick designer room. Basically, we'll put it that way. But yeah, I would recommend, but I wouldn't like be confident in saying, yeah, this is what you need to do.
Okay, okay, but design. So, what does that mean to you in Scotland? You're a painter and designer. What does that mean?
Well, I'm a painter decorator.
Decorator.
Uh, yeah, so the decorating, I think painting. If you're just a painter, you can paint.
Okay.
But if you put decorator in front of it, I would say the minimum to be a decorator is to be able to wallpaper.
Okay. So you can do
Yeah.
other things beyond just painting, like taping, but more decorative stuff like, well, we might be getting into fresco harmony a little bit. That would
Yes,
fall under I would assume that would fall under the decorator category.
I would say so from what I've seen of it. I've not seen much, but yeah, so some of the finishes would fall under decorating.
I've noticed you poking around, liking stuff.
So some of it Carthy's that I'm tapping and liking.
Yeah, Kathy did a little bit. She's got a toe in.
For,
Just put
for
a
British people, I want to clarify that I'm not tapping Carthy.
right. No,
I think that
no.
means something totally different in America. I hope Kathy gets a good laugh at that.
Tapping Kathy. She will. She's a saucy. She's saucy. She'll get it. Um, but yeah, Kathy did a little bit of fresco harmony. She posted some of it. You know, she wants to do a little bit more, but we're just it's challenging to get new product, sort of going. And so this is why we'll go over there, we'll do a training and hang out and meet some people and have a lot of fun and introduce, more, try to get more energy around it. Because Ben was saying that in Scotland, specifically fresco harmony would go really well because of the decorating aspect to your trade.
Well, in Scotland, there's typically, I can't speak for Glasgow and Edinburgh, more the central belt, but up in the Highlands, painter and Ames taper kind of go hand in hand.
Okay.
Whereas down in England, you get plasterers who plaster, and then the decorator comes in afterward. They're like two separate professions. But being that I do the taping and the decorating, at least I know that I have done the taping, so the taping is good, and
Yeah.
it leads to a good paint and finish. Where a lot of plastering, especially these days, from what I've seen or what people are posting, is pretty abysmal, and the decorator has to fix quite a lot.
Interesting. So, like the decorator, you would have to fix it before you go to paint.
Yeah, there can be just because of snotters and things that'll make the paint job look imperfect.
Yeah.
It'll have imperfections.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
some plasters. It can be wavy that needs filled out. There can be snotters which need sanded down.
Like your
It's
little, we call them hitchhikers.
ah,
You call them
but yeah,
snotters? Snotters?
I would say so.
I like it.
But a lot of plasterers are good plasterers are becoming a diamond in the rough in England. From what I can gather, not a lot of plastering happens up in the Highlands.
Why do you call it Ames taper? Like, is that because Ames has such a like powerful uh uh hold on like Scott, like because they have a market share in Scotland that you're just like, we're Ames tapers. They've
I
like
have no.
created that brand.
It's just as far as I've known, it's always been called that. But then the English call it board and is it board and plaster? And you like there's drywallers as well. So I'm learning all
Yeah.
different.
And then plasters, you guys call it plastering a lot.
Yeah, plastering's like the orangey brown finish.
Oh, okay. That is like traditional plaster, which is different than joint
Yeah,
compound.
plastering's like just the color of it. Plastering covers the whole wall, where taping only covers the joints.
Okay. Jointing, too. I've heard that. Jointing.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. Just to get our terminology straight and what we're talking about. What is the purpose of plaster still that's happening in England or your area? Is that decorative? Is that for like final finish? Because it sounds like there is a system where you would have the plaster come in and you plaster, but then you're coming in and painting over the plaster. Stop me if or wallpapering. Stop me if I'm wrong.
so plastering is just once a room is plasterboarded, plasters come in and plaster it. They're meant to make it smooth.
Okay.
I use that loosely, and
Yeah.
then when it hits, then a painter will come in and mist coat it and decorate it.
Okay.
But so it's just an alternative to taping.
Okay, it's an alternative to taping. Would you say
Well,
that?
it's an alternative to taping in Scotland, but in England, I think plastering is more prominent, and taping is seen as the alternative.
Okay, but in the United States, taping is huge. I mean, that's it.
Uh,
Plastering's like 2%, 3% of the market. Very small.
I would say the same sort of stats in Scotland. The Highlands anyway. I don't
Okay.
know. Don't know if it gets the more south you go, the more popular it gets. But Cathy's Newcastle, and that's like the tip of England, and she's a taper. So maybe it is the further south you go, the more plastering it becomes.
Okay. How did you like Newcastle? I have this like romantic vision of Newcastle. Like I want to go there. I want to watch a Newcastle game. I want to see it. Is it just gorgeous?
I enjoy my time. Apparently, the first time I went to Newcastle, I landed at Lucky and stayed in a really good hotel, and the host was brilliant. And every time I go back to Newcastle, it's I always stay with him. But when I told a friend of mine who is a Newcastle fan that I was staying in Wall's End, he said, that's like the roughest area of Newcastle.
Yeah, because Kathy's there.
I don't think she's far by. She did walk. She walked to the hotel from where she lived.
It sounds great to me. I mean, if I ever go to Newcastle, I definitely want that. If it's a good place to stay, I don't care. It can't be rougher than Albuquerque, New Mexico, man. This is as rough as it gets.
I have to remember what my friend said, but I think like Wall's End is the home of the Newcastle boys team, which is like the football hooligans.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I enjoyed my time in Wall's End, so that's my verdict on it. But apparently, if you're in the know of Newcastle, avoid Wall's End. Apparently,
apparently, I think I've had experiences traveling a little bit. I think that it's whatever you bring to the table. You can have, I mean, people say bad things about where I live too, but it's like, Albuquerque has a lot of beauty in it too. Depending on your viewpoint.
Yeah.
That. So wallpaper. So do you do a lot of wallpapering?
It's getting less and less popular, I would say. But yeah, I'll throw up a feature wall every now and then.
Yeah, see that feature wall you could be doing in Fresco Harmony now, and the beauty is that you could paint over the top of it. So now I'm selling you, buddy. Like, get rid of that wallpaper. Stop me if I'm wrong. The problem with wallpaper is that if you have to get rid of it, you're screwed. Stuff's like stuck to the wall.
Yeah, you do have to strip it. Most come off relatively easy.
Sure.
You do get Zinsser, a paint. They do have a paint called Wallpaper Cover Up, but I've personally never used it. But a paint, it's just got the most generic name called Wallpaper Cover Up.
Hey, do you know that I've gone over wallpaper like over 40 times with Fresco Harmony with drywall mud?
Do you know I have also gone over wallpaper with filler, but I didn't have Fresco Harmony in it.
Right. Yeah, you can go over wallpaper with now it depends on the wallpaper. It has to be really stuck on good. But the problem that I see with wallpaper is when you start to peel it off, you get the paper, and that's what bubbles. But if you leave that wallpaper on, you can cut out the loose stuff and you can go right over it with joint compound, especially like if you're using Zinsser or like Fibafuse. You're familiar with Fibafuse?
I've never heard of Fibafuse, no.
It's like it's a fibrous, like wide roll of like tape. You have fiber tape, you have paper tape for joints. They also have Fibafuse. It's like you could tear it, but it's like this fiber material, and CSR sells rolls of 3 foot. And you can put that over the wallpaper or like wood paneling or anything. And then you mud it right in.
Yeah. But yeah, as I say, I have filled over wallpaper that I thought wasn't cost effective to strip.
Right.
It would be cheaper to skim it, but then you have to sand it down and paint it, whereas Fresco Harmony makes filler the finish. So the next paper I come across that I am not willing to strip, I will definitely get some Fresco Harmony.
Well, see, you got to start before that though. You got to have the color chart, and then you got to have like a couple sample boards that you can like sell. That helps sell it. But we'll talk more about that. It's a whole, you got to start down the path.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something I would want to be involved in to bring over to the UK.
We'll talk more about it. So a little bit of wallpaper. Do you like doing wallpaper? Because they still do it a little bit here. You enjoy putting it up?
Not my favorite job. It's quite time consuming.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a lot of progress is being made sometimes, but I don't I don't mind it. It's not taping. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, you like taping. I can tell.
Yeah, taping. When I was in apprenticeship, taping was my favourite
Yeah.
because tapers come in, they tape it, they sand it, and they leave.
Yeah.
And then, in our case, we tape it, we sand it, we miscoat it because in Scotland, tapers and painters are one and the same.
Okay.
So we'll sand it down, we'll miscoat it, and then the finishings go on. And a joiner will put some skirting through the ceiling. Sparkies will put light switches in the wrong place. They'll put lights in the wrong place.
We call it Swiss
Plumber,
cheese. When
yeah.
the Sparkies cut all the holes, we call that Swiss cheesing.
I've never heard that one. But yes, then all that stuff happens, and the decorators, the painters have to come in and repair that all. So that's why I like taping, is because you just put it on, you sand it, you're out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of drywall finishers in the United States feel the same. Now, when you go to finish, are you hand taping or do you use the automatic tools? It's so interesting to me that you call it Ames taper. They have such a brand hold on the market that it's called Ames taper in Scotland. That's crazy.
It's what I was taught. It's just what it was. My boss called it. That's the only
I
reason
love
I
it.
call it. Yeah, I was on his van, AMES taping.
But you
I,
realize
I
like
never
Ames
I never questioned it.
Ames is a brand, just a brand like Tape Tech or Columbia or Level 5 or they all have brands of tools. Ames started it with the automatic tools. So, they have brand recognition, but you use the automatic tools, yeah or no?
When I was an apprentice with my boss,
Okay.
but now that I've gone off my own and I'm just a one man band, I just hand tape.
You just hand tape. Do you use a banjo or anything?
Don't even know what a banjo is.
Okay. It's like a machine, and you put it's like a little hand taper. The roll goes in one side, and the roll comes up through the mud. And when you pull it, it puts the mud and the tape on at the same time.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean now. I didn't realize it was called a banjo.
Yeah, they call it a banjo.
Because I'll apply my internals with fast set.
Okay.
So I think if you were to use fast set and it was to set in your machines, you'd be in for a hardship to clean it.
Yeah, you got to clean it really quick or use longer. Do you have like 90-minute, 45, like longer time frame on your fast set?
Generally, most things go up. The highest things I've seen was 1 hour, but recently Tupre have put out a 3 hour
Woo.
version of their filler.
Okay. That's enough
It's
time.
it's Tupre or Tupret. It's very up for debate how you pronounce that. I've got a bucket, so bear with me.
Okay. To
T
pray.
O U R E
To,
T.
to pray. That's a fast setting or a regular ready mix.
And that's their joint and skim, and they put out a
Okay.
finished filler in January that I really like.
Okay, you could use that stuff with Fresco. You could put Fresco in that bucket. Maybe.
Yeah. So the joint and skim I would just use to apply tapes, but I would use their finished filler for the top coat.
Oh, okay. I like using it all purpose for the Fresco here because you can like if I have a patch and just use it for the patch too. Why not?
Yeah.
I'm a rule breaker, Craig. I am a rule
Yeah.
breaker.
But typically when I'm applying tapes, I use Gyprox 45. That seems to be the right time for me.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty good. Pretty good. I like 90, but it depends on what I'm doing. I don't use it a whole lot. Very cool. So no tools. Do you have hand tools? What's your preference on the hand tools that you use?
I like the Purdy 6-inch knife.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've recently got the Axis Decor one.
The what?
Again, Axis Decor.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, they've recently put out a knife as well. I quite like theirs. It's not as sharp as the Purdy, so it's quite
Okay.
good for internal. You don't end up cutting into the paper tape like you would
Uh,
with a knife,
okay. All right.
which is sometimes known to happen because they are quite sharp.
Yeah, and then you're a brand. You told me that you were a brand ambassador for a company. Let's give those guys a shout out since you're on here, and then I wanna learn a little bit more about that. What?
Well, you have mentioned Pretty Boy for is I did give Kathy a call because I wanted to clarify something with her
Okay.
because I convinced her to try Pretty Boy for cleaning out her tools.
Yeah.
So just not 20 minutes before we started this podcast, I asked her,
Um.
"You did say Pretty Boy was really good for cleaning out your equipment, yeah?" And yeah, she did say that.
She gives it the nod.
Yeah, Kathy gives Pretty Boy the nod.
And what is Pretty Boy, real quick?
It is advertised as
Shut
paint
up.
cleaner and conditioner and removes
Okay.
paint, dirt, paper. But I've seen people clean their cars with it. I've seen
Okay.
people use it in the drawers of their washing machines.
But you are an ambassador for Pretty Boy?
I am not an ambassador for Pretty Boy. I just like the product.
You like the product and you use it on your drywall knives, and that helps maybe condition. Does it clean them? And then also, like, because some people here put like an oil, like WD-40 on their knives.
Ah, it does. It has a conditioner for paint bristles, so yeah, it probably does
I'll bet you it
do something
does.
along the lines to metal. I will be honest. When I first saw Pretty Boy, what would be like for washing your dishes? What would be the leading brand in washing up liquid for you?
Dawn
Oh,
dish soap.
that would be better. Sometimes when if you were to wash your dishes in the sink, what would you use?
Dawn.
Dawn. So over here, that's fairy liquid. I just thought it was fairy liquid when I heard of it, but after I used it, I changed my mind.
Okay. Okay. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
So for Americans, I thought it was just Dawn, and then actually used it, and it doesn't lather up the same as washing up liquid.
Okay. All right. And then you're saying like
Yeah.
for paintbrushes, it's good for bristles. Shout out to Pretty Boy. But we're not talking about Pretty Boy. We're talking about, and kudos to Kathy for giving it the nod. So if Craig has any questions about anything, you just send it to Kathy. You let her try it. If Kathy says it's good, it's good.
Yeah. I asked her out of a curiosity because I thought it's really good at cleaning up brushes. It doesn't lather up like washing up liquid. So I just thought, buy a bottle, give it a try. She said it was
Okay.
great.
There you go. But you are a brand ambassador for what?
Smith and Roger.
Smith and Roger. And what's that?
So they have three product. They got more than three products, but the three
Okay.
they really push is Blockade, which is a shellac based paint.
Okay.
So that is used if you have water damage from a leak, and if you had a leak upstairs and it damaged
Yep.
your ceiling,
Yep.
but it was damaged to the point that the plasterboard needed replaced, you would
You
coat
gotta
it with shellac.
you gotta block that stain.
Yeah, you got to block the water stain, so you would coat it with shellac and then decorate it to stop the water stains coming through.
Okay.
And it's also probably a lot of furniture painters use it as well.
Okay.
And then their other one is Rock Top, which is a water-based varnish.
Okay.
They've recently put out an ultra matte version, which is really flat, and you wouldn't even know it was there.
Nice.
Yeah, and their favorite product of mine is Flow and Bond, which is a paint conditioner.
Okay.
They
Yeah,
put it in 10.
we have a product called Flowtrol here. It extended.
We've got that too. So Flow and Bond would be their direct competitor.
Okay. Cool. And how did you hook up with these guys? You were like posting videos, or how did that go?
Pretty much, Zinsser is the leading brand in shellac-based paint in the UK.
Yeah.
So they're about £90 for a 5 litre tin, I think
Okay.
you guys were gallons, which would be like 3.75 gallons, I think.
Okay.
So then I looked for a shellac based paint alternative about 3 years ago now. Found Smith and Rogers Blockade, made a video about it. Ian, the owner of Smith and Rogers, saw my video, reached out, and sent me a hoodie and some other things.
Smart.
Yeah, so
Smart.
we've had a good rapport since, and then in March 2025, they said they were thinking about having their first ambassador, and they thought I was the man for the job.
Because you're Craig, you're the kilted taper. If you go to Instagram, how many followers do you have? Not that that's a big deal, but you didn't buy any followers, did you? Nothing like that. They're all earned. They're all earned.
All earned. So I'm shy of 900. I think I've got 897.
Beautiful, beautiful.
But
And
moreover, I've got about 3,500 on TikTok.
on TikTok, okay. So you've had some success on TikTok. You're building up your Instagram. I want to talk about the kilt a little bit.
I'll have to stand up. Oh, I have stood up a few times, but yeah,
You've stood up a little bit, but you got to back up. You're wearing a kilt right now.
I'll stand on the
Yeah,
chair.
please do. Look at that thing.
Call the services.
If you fall down, I'm posting it. Okay, okay. What's the little bag on the front? That is so beautiful.
That is called a sporran.
Okay.
So it's just like a little bag for like your wallet or whatever.
Like a fanny pack. That's like a traditional Scottish fanny pack for the kilt. Does a kilt always go with that bag? Is it
A sport, yes, a kilt typically has a sporran.
a
Nine
sporting?
9.9 times out of 10, a kilt would have a sporran.
I love the
Sorry,
traditional aspect of the kilt. It's so cool because it goes way back. It makes me think of the movie Braveheart when they were all the Scotsmen were wearing the kilts. And now this might be a little personal. Do you freeball it underneath the kilt?
how I put it to people is when I'm at work, I wear PPE for my PP.
Okay, okay, PPE for the PP.
Yeah,
Here we would call it a jock strap. Maybe something
yeah.
that's like protective.
But does PPE stand for the same thing in America? It's like basically protective gear.
Personal protection equipment.
That's the one.
Mm,
So
yeah, we
when I'm
have it.
asked, I just say I wear PPE for my PP when in a professional environment.
But that's a good point. Like, is a kilt okay for PPE? They consider that to be a garment for working in construction in Scotland.
Probably not, but I work mostly domestic.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't. I've not gone into
Yeah.
commercial.
I
If you
do
went,
too.
I've never actually thought of that. But yeah, if you went commercial,
Do they let you wear a kilt?
quite loose, isn't it? They'd probably be concerned it would catch on something.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Um, do other people wear kilts, or is this something unique to you in Scott? I know other people wear kilts, but do they wear them when they work? Is that unique to you?
I seem to be the only one who has a white one.
I like it. It's beautiful, by the
Yeah.
way. It's a beautiful garment. Do you have multiple kilts?
I have two currently personal ones, but Smith
Okay.
and Rod, I've bought me another one.
Shut the fuck. Are they gonna put like their brand? If they were
Yeah,
smart, they would put their brand on the kilt. Like, duh.
they are going to do that. So they
Yes.
made me a kilt, and they wanted to embroider it, but they didn't. It's not something they wanted to do for my own
Yes.
personal kilt.
They're gonna embroider their logo onto a kilt.
Yes,
That's the coolest thing I've heard, man. It makes me want one. Why?
that's what I said.
What's
It is genius because how
yeah.
many brands you see in a t-shirt and don't give it a second look?
Well, I mean, a kilt would be specialized because not everybody's gonna want to wear a kilt.
If you see, if someone was wearing, do you know what Dulux is?
Dulux, huh? Is a brand.
It's a paint, and it's probably the most. It's not my favorite, but it's the most popular paint brand in Britain. But if you
Okay.
saw someone wearing a Dulux t-shirt, you wouldn't think twice of seeing the logo on a t-shirt. But if you saw that on a kilt, you would remember that.
Well, the reason that it's going to do well is because the kilted taper wears it, and then you can show off the brand and stuff. I mean, that's the beauty of the brand ambassador. Very smart, and I look forward to seeing it. Spoiler alert: we've got a new kilt coming out with this Smith and Roger paint brand. Look for the new Smith and Roger kilt
Yeah.
at your local paint store. You may want to
There,
pick one up.
there could be some room for fresco harmony on my own personal kilt.
Oh my God. Stop it. Stop it. The Fresco Harmony brand's pretty cool too. Like
It looks.
it's an attractive brand. Yeah, I would love it, but I would require that you use Fresco Harmony. Like, but I want to go back to the kilt. I'm not done with the kilt. I'm fascinated by it. I think it's a beautiful garment. Why the kilt? What is the significance of the kilt going back into history? Why? And because it seems like it is very specific to Scotsmen.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's a little bit Irish as well, but yeah, it's definitely
Okay.
more associated with Scotland.
And we could talk about the kilt because you are the kilted taper.
I am.
I feel like we're on track
Um,
here.
it's just, I don't know. To me, it's just Scottish people wear kilts. I've never dwelled deep into it. I've never
Okay.
questioned why a Welshman would wear a top hat.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I didn't realize that Welshmen wore top hats.
Yeah, at weddings, top hats very popular at Welsh weddings.
Top hats are cool.
Yeah.
I've got a like a Panama hat right there.
I'm not sure the history of it because Scotland is notoriously cold, so I don't know who thought to
Yeah.
expose our eggs.
Yeah. More will be revealed. I mean, nowadays you could just be like, just like ask Siri, like, what is it about? They'll give me a whole history on the kilt and how it came to be. But you like them maybe because they're comfortable.
Yeah, they are. I can give you my history of the kilt, but
Sure.
not the, not the actual history of the
I mean,
kilt. It's
you probably grew up wearing kilts.
Yeah, I've done more traditional kilts, so I've never wore a white one until roughly this time last year. So how it came about was I got invited on to Johnson's, another paint brand. They invited me to Leeds for a tasting day,
Okay.
and I was sat on the couch, and I thought, I wonder if you get white kilts, it would be cool to go down in a white kilt. Look, typed in white kilt on the internet, and apparently they just
Done.
make them.
Of course they do.
They make them. I think I'm the first ever person to buy one, but they do make them.
Right. Well, not when Smith and Rogers starts selling the kilted painter a
Uh,
kilt, a specialty
it's,
paint kilt,
the kilted paint action figures.
and they'll make it PPE approved because they'll put buttons down the middle. And if you want, you just button the middle and you make them into pants.
Uh, so when I went down to Leeds, I ended up getting in touch with another podcast. So the testing day was on the 6th, and I was in England. I had booked a couple of days holiday in England before it. So I messaged Russ, who is the talking tradesman, on the 3rd of June, and he told me that he had a cancellation on the 8th. Apart from that, he's booked up for 2 months. So I thought to myself, there's no way I'm in the country, and he's got a cancellation. So I booked an extra couple of nights in England after my Johnson's tasting day just to be able to get that slot that had opened up. Unfortunately, the kilt didn't come in time for the Johnson show. So me and Russ ended up talking about attire and how presentable you have to be to go and price jobs. And then while we were talking about clothes, I said, speaking of clothes, I have recently ordered a work kilt.
Right.
So that kind of talking about it on a podcast got the wheels turning. Turned
Yeah.
up to turned up to a few shows in the kilt. In the last 12 months, I have filmed a TV show. I've become a brand ambassador, and I'm an admin of the Bolton Decorating Show, which is on next Wednesday and Thursday, if anyone's listening.
The wit what and decorating show?
The Bolton Trade Decorator Show. Bolton, Bolton.
Bolton Trade and Decorating Show. What is that?
It's just like a painting and decorating convention, just a lot of
Okay.
brands to it. And
Okay.
yeah, so decorators come and get to talk with the manufacturers of some of the stuff they use, meet
That's
some
where
that
I
they've
need
never.
that's where I need to be, dude. Fresco Harmony needs to be at that decorating show. That
There
way
is.
we'll show off the fresco.
When were you coming down again?
September.
There's another show in November in Coventry. It's it's the
Oh
big
my.
one. It's on its fifth year, but it's very impressive for what it's
Yeah.
achieved. And I'm not just saying that as an admin. It is
Yeah.
it's quite.
We'll do that one, buddy. You hook up the booth, I'll bring all the stuff.
I can certainly get you in touch with Paula, who runs the Bolton Decorating Show.
That's cool.
And you
That's
could
very
be
cool.
there.
I would like to get into that. You have a lot going on. This is a good segue into because you wore the kilt on the show that you were just on, faking it. So that was the show. How did you get wrangled into that show? Did they find you on TikTok?
They found me on Instagram.
Okay.
They reached out. We think you have a brilliant personality and will be a good match for a show that we're planning putting together. Didn't
Okay.
give away too much details.
Right.
Uh, but I applied. I was told it would be to do a different profession. That's
Okay.
all they gave me. So I applied. Later down the line, got told it was going to be a high end makeup artist in London.
Yeah. Serious
So I went,
business, dude. Those I watched it this morning. I watched the clips that you sent. Those people in England, like London, they're not playing around. Like you're coming into their world. And I mean, the nerves, like I get it. You were very nervous. And they were like, "Oh no, try not to be nervous." Like, how in the world are you're like working on somebody's face. You're like doing art on someone's
yeah.
face with this make
See,
like cuz there's makeup, there's putting on makeup, and then there's fashion industry or film makeup. That is because you had the film makeup people there too. They're probably putting in their 2 cents, right?
so yeah, but see the poker face that you have to have when you're this close to your client's face. It's not
Yeah.
it's not like a wall. Like walls stay still. If you touch someone's eyelid, it will react, and it is quite scary.
Right. So just if you're listening, Faking It is a show where they take somebody like Craig from the drywall industry, and Craig has to fake being a makeup artist in the fashion industry so that and you have to be so good that the people don't know that you're not a makeup artist.
Yeah, so I got trained
What
in
a
four
bitch.
weeks. Yeah, it was. So yeah, I got trained 4 weeks. I got trained by the best of the best to become a makeup artist. I got put into a competition of which I will not say the results because I think people should go and see it and find out for
Right.
themselves.
Right. And if you're in the United States, sorry, you can't watch the show or know the results, but maybe you can get this app or we'll figure it out someday or they'll release it on YouTube or whatever, but it's never good to spoil the end for sure.
You can't get a VPN would be a way to watch it.
Yeah, maybe I'll get a VPN just so I can watch the damn show and then cancel it or whatever. I don't know. But you had this experience, sorry I interrupted,
Right.
where you were explaining the show.
Yeah. So on day one, I turned up to a photo shoot and there was models, hairdressers, nail technicians, makeup artists, photographers. It was all hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
And here's Murph the kilted painter standing in amongst it all, just a deer in the headlights.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then I met Howard Kong, who he mentored me for like the first 2.5 weeks.
That dude seemed intense. And good. Like he knew his shit.
Yeah. He was he was not very well received from friends of mine.
No, I mean you could kind of say he was kind of a dick, but it's like that's the industry, man. It's like, hey, you're working on somebody's face. This is like what I do. They're passionate about it, just like you'd be serious if somebody was smoothing out a wall.
Yeah.
Maybe you wouldn't be as much of a dick, but whatever. I mean, you could say he's a dick, or you could say he's very passionate. One of the two. You take your pick.
Yeah. But it was as I said to someone, if you ever wanted to meet up, I would maybe recommend not coming to Grantown-on-Spey. He was bad to one of their own, but we'll maybe go to Inverness or something.
And maybe he's good at what he does. Like who knows? Everybody's got different person. It's not like I've never met a jerk drywaller.
Yeah. He absolutely is good at what he does. And what I will say is that character, not a character because all of it was real. It was more like a documentary.
Right.
But what he portrayed in front of the camera is not what he was like behind the camera.
Okay.
He did lay it on thick for the camera when we were practicing in private. He was a lot more patient and a lot less of a bitch.
Ah, okay, interesting. So he kind of bitched it up for the camera a little bit.
He bitched it up so much that even the director was a little concerned.
Like, hey man, tone it down. You're not you're not being portrayed well, man. But like, I don't know. I liked his character. I mean, the little bit that I saw, I kind of liked his character. He's kind of bitchy, but like, there was the other dude too with the handlebar mustache, and he did film. There was like a burlesque show.
Yes, yeah, he was doing the makeup for the stage show Burlesque.
That looked cool.
He's also there's a show called Glow Up, and it's kind of like the makeup version of America's Got Talent. Or
okay,
did you guys get the X Factor? Simon Cowell shows basically.
Yeah,
Dominic Skinner is the Simon Cowell of the makeup world.
Oh, okay. So he's a big deal, and I might add, he's got a pretty badass mustache. Dominic, was he a nice guy?
He was absolutely lovely.
Yeah, he seemed pretty cool.
The show didn't portray how well we got on, actually. Me and him just hit it off, must admit.
Well, and they were talking about how much more comfortable you were. So it seems to me, stop me if I'm wrong, if I was educating somebody in the arts of makeup and I was trying to train you up in a short period of time to fake it like you're a professional, or if I was training anyone at anything, I would try to make it as much fun to create an air of confidence, because that gives you confidence. When you're having fun, you're more confident. Like, hey, that's okay, man. Just you can do this. Just make it chill and fun. You're going to be more confident and less likely to screw up.
I think Howard, his style is more editorial, which ends up in magazines. So it's like photographed really close up.
Okay.
So I think editorial is like perfection, where Dominic Skinner was more theatre. I feel like I learned the more theatre way.
What was your favorite part about the experience?
Oh, Burlesque was brilliant, I must admit. There was a few things that got cut that aren't in the show. There's a big exhibition centre called London XL. So I think it's in the clips I sent you. Was there a moment where I done, like Dominic says, I done 2 years worth of red lips?
Right. Yeah.
So that same day, we went to London XL, and I had to do a red lip in front of 200 people at Music Con.
Cool. And you're
So
faking it. You're faking it.
I was thinking, we were about 3 weeks in at this point, and yeah, I managed to pull off a red lip in front of 200 people.
Were they like,
Speak on, yeah, once I was done, I had to talk about it, and I can't remember what I said at all, but I know
oh
I
my
ended it by
God.
saying, "Doesn't she look beautiful?" And everyone clapped, and I was
Oh,
like, "Oh yeah,
yeah.
I'm a natural at this."
Yeah. You were owning that shit. That's cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I wish.
We left the stage, and Dominic said to me, well, he announced to everyone, he said, "This man is a showman. Get him an audience every time."
Nice, nice. Cool, cool. And worst experience of the show that you can think of?
Again, something that didn't make the cut. There's a stadium called Abba Voyage. What it does is it's a purpose-built stadium, and it shows hologram ABBA all year round.
Nice.
That's its purpose. But I set up a pop-up makeup stall outside that and served the general public for tips.
Oh, funny. And that didn't make the cut.
It was horrendous because it wasn't makeup I'd done before. They literally, an hour before people started arriving, you think ABBA, you think 70s glam. So like an hour before people arrive, they're like, right, here's how you add glitter, here's some gemstones. You put them on with tweezers. Have fun.
Oh. God, that would be nerve-wracking.
Yeah, feel like I was set up to fail that day, and it was absolutely. I'll say it was embarrassing, and it was embarrassing, but
yeah,
I was never humiliated. I'll put it that way.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I was thinking too as I was watching that there was probably an element of like, doing your three ways or working with mud where you have to be delicate and precise with your handcraft. And that training probably helped with those delicate movements with the eyeliner and like some of those intricacies that you're doing. It's like all very intricate with the face, like almost where you got to hold your wrist, while you do these delicate procedures. Did the drywall help?
Absolutely, yeah. Aye, the steady hand, even
Steady hand.
decorating helps as well.
Yeah. And the paintbrush in the inside corner.
Yeah. A lot of the skills were transferable. That's for sure.
Yeah. Very cool.
Actually, I was good at makeup about 3 weeks in, but how I carried myself was more important. Which I think
right.
I got an acting coach. I don't know if that was in one of the clips I showed you.
No.
An acting coach, and she just helped soften my edges because I was very tradesman.
So the other aspect of not only do you have to learn to fake it as a professional makeup artist, but you have to sell it. So you had to be really good at your poker face, pretending like I am this person. Like I've been doing this my whole life. Like that's acting, bud.
Yes, I have bleached eyebrows. I belong here.
Cool. That's so cool.
They never a lot of people didn't like that. Not a lot, but I think maybe about 4 or 5 people have said they feel like they altered my image too much. But I said, well, 1, I agreed to it, and 2, they didn't make me act more camp because they thought that would be offensive. They really wanted to change my image to help my odds in doing well.
Well, no, if you're a makeup artist, you're not going to go around looking like a drywaller. You're going to look like a makeup artist. Like, those guys are like put together.
Any misconception I do try and put right of people thinking it was a bit too much to shave my beard and my brows, but I agreed to it, so it's fine. I'm fine with it.
Right. No, I think it was a nice touch. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But Craig Murphy, one thing I ask all of the interviewees on the Drywall podcast is pearl of wisdom that you could bestow on the drywall community and beyond, as it were, what would you say? You could put something on a billboard. Nice inspirational quote.
Be sure of yourself.
Be sure of yourself. It seemed like a challenging endeavor to do, like you talk about it on the show, getting out of your comfort zone. You're getting out of your comfort zone right now. Kathy got out of her comfort zone to come onto the podcast. She even called you. But from those challenging risks that we take, we get to reap the rewards. I really like it. And that's like going back to like this confidence that we have in what we can do, as humans. It's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I try to end the show with something inspirational, but being sure of yourself. That's how you've gotten a lot in the last year. And maybe this is like a shift that you've had at 34 years old. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I put it this way. I didn't know who the top makeup artist in the country was pre-October. And now he's a friend of mine in my Instagram chart.
Yeah, I'm sure. And hopefully I will be too. You are just a pleasure. And I think that we'll get to meet maybe this England thing. I think Fresco Harmony might do well in Scotland. It sort of occurred to me after the fact, but I definitely wanted to interview this Kilted Taper character. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much. I know you're busy. I appreciate you coming on. Look out for the Talking Tradesmen. So you're on the Talking Tradesmen. You are an ambassador for the paint supply, Smith and Roger, and then this Bolton Trades and Decorating show.
I'm an admin of that.
You're an admin, so you help these people put this together. Yeah?
Yeah, help promote it. I'll turn up the day before, help set up in any way I can, and just
cool.
I'm a face that's advertised as will be there.
Right.
And, I've recently been on television, so may pull a bit of a crowd. We shall see.
Oh, for sure. No, for sure, Craig. And I think that would be a good show for Fresco Harmony. It's very difficult to get over there, but it might be good for, like you could reach out to Ben at GWY. He listens to the Drywall podcast. Like he could do a booth up there and promote Fresco, and I could fly over and join him or something like that, maybe next year.
Yeah. It's on, so this year it's on, I think it's on over the 18th and 19th. Pretty sure that's right. But next year it's on a bit earlier for the World Cup being on.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, take me out with the football knowledge.
Yeah. Well, and it's gonna be in the United States, so that's exciting.
Was it? I didn't realize that. But yeah, you'll miss it then if you come over to Bolton next year. Oh no, sorry, no. They're putting on earlier so it doesn't overlap with the World Cup. Because last year it lapped with the Euros, and on the second day people disappeared in the afternoon to go and watch the football.
Yeah. So if you're from the United States, people in other countries, you can't schedule shit when there's badass soccer events happening because like people won't go. They're watching football.
Yeah. So I can't remember the date next year, but it's earlier than the 18th. It's more the start of June.
Cool. We'll keep it on the radar. It would be fun to go to anyways. That's for sure. But thank you so much for coming on the Drywall podcast. This has been just wonderful. And yeah, I will talk soon. Is there anything else that you wanted to say?
I think that just about covers it, Nick.
Yeah, we did good. We did good, man. Thank you so much. We will be in touch. Look out for Craig's page, The Kilted Taper, on Instagram. Also follow him on TikTok. Are you on Facebook?
Well, I'm the Kilted Painter, all my handles. I was just the Kilted Taper for this podcast.
Oh, Kilted Painter. Well, I could put Kilted. It hasn't aired yet, man. I screw up all the time. Is it the Kilted
That's all right.
Painter?
It's Murph the Kilted Painter. Sorry, I thought you were just calling me a taper because it was the Drywall Podcast. I thought you were being humorous.
No, I'm a numbskull, dude. I get stuff wrong all the time. And people out there, they're like, Nick should do his research, but it's like the Kilted Painter. No.
Yes, my handle is Murph the Kilted Painter. Sorry, I just thought you were calling me a taper for your podcast. Sorry, I didn't correct you at the start.
All right. we'll leave it in. Murph the Kilted Taper / Painter for the podcast. But it's Murph the Kilted Painter on your social media handles. But for all you drywallers out there, he does do drywall finishing. He knows his stuff, and he knows how to do wallpaper, which is kind of cool. And soon to be Fresco Harmony. So look out for some content on that. And he's going to have a fresh new kilt.
And don't forget makeup.
Oh, and he has studied makeup his entire life. That's his true passion. His true passion is makeup.
Brilliant.
Very cool.
No, that's excellent, Nick. Cheers. Catch you later.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
Cheerio.
Huge shout out to Craig for being with us on the Drywall Podcast today. You, sir, are a gentleman and a scholar, and I really appreciate your time. Not only that, you will receive a sweet swag bucket from our friends at CSR just for coming on the show, telling your story, and being open with us. Huge shout out to Tape Tech for sponsoring the Drywall Podcast in the month of June. It's because of you guys that I get to have this awesome podcast, and I appreciate you for that. This month, they are highlighting some badass skimming blades, and we might be giving away a free set towards the end of the month. So stay tuned for more information on that. If you'd like to learn more about Tape Tech's tools, head over to tapetech.com or check out their social media pages for more information there. If you're not running Tape Tech premium knives yet, give them a try. These things are the real deal, and your work will show it. Thank you so much for joining the Drywall Podcast today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Join us next week as we will be having Simone of Comey Tools out of Italy on the show. I hope you all have an amazing weekend, and remember, keep drywalling.